Hey guys, this is AG. You're watching Math to the Max. Today we're going to do a quick discussion on multiplying rational expressions. Okay, there's not much vocabulary for this lesson. However, the expression is a combination of numbers and or letters with a math operation. For example, 2x, 5x minus 3, x squared plus 2x plus 1. The next vocabulary term is rational. When we say rational, we just refer as a fraction. The prerequisites. Simplifying fraction. Know how to simplify a fraction like 3 over 9 is 1/3. Knowing how to factor. There are different methods. Knowing how to do the GCF and factor in different quadratics. But since we're multiplying rational expressions, you may have to use your distributive property. And simplifying rational expressions, that's the video we had last. Go back and check that video out. So what's the process of multiplying rational expressions? You're not going to actually multiply it. You're going to start off by factoring the numerators and denominators if possible. Then you're going to cancel out the same factors on top and bottom. You only cancel them out as a pair. Third and last, make sure you simplify your fraction numbers and simplify the same base as being divided if possible. You may not have it in the problem if possible. You know what time it is. It's time to go to work. Work, 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 work. All right, guys, let's check out number one. So we're trying to multiply. So you don't want to multiply this because you're going to get something more complicated. We always want to make things as simple as possible. So you always want to factor. You look at each numerator and denominator to see, okay, can I factor? This numerator cannot factor. They have nothing in common. It's not a difference of squares. It's not a quadratic. X to the fifth is a one term. You can never factor a one term monomial. This numerator, look and see what factoring method that is. That is a GCF. They have something in common. What do they have in common is an X. What is this right here? This is a difference of squares. So let's factor this. X minus 1 and the X to the fifth does not simplify. When we factor the top, the GCF is X. That's what they have in common. And you're left with an X plus 1. How do you know this is correct? Is if you can multiply by checking the X times X, boom, X squared, that's right. X times 1, 1X, that's right. And our difference of squares is always going to be X and X. And what number multiplied give me -1, plus 1, and minus 1. Now, this is a misconception. Students say, okay, hey, I can factor out everything I see on top and bottom. No, they only have to go in pairs, meaning one at a time on top and the bottom. So X minus 1s, boom, that cancels. X plus 1s, boom, that cancels. All I'm left with now is X over X to the fifth. That's the only thing left in the numerator. And the only thing left at the bottom is the X to the fifth. Now, this is just quotient property for exponents. When you're dividing, you subtract. So the final answer is 1 over X to the 4th. Because the X's cancel and the X go to X one time and you're left with 4 of them. Final answer. All right, let's look at number two. Number two. So look at the numerator. Always look at the numerator and the denominator. And ask yourself, is it factorable? Using any of my factoring methods I know. You always start with GCF. You don't have anything in common at the top. It's not a quadratic. X cubed minus 2x squared. They have something in common. GCF. X squared minus 4, that's a difference of squares. And then this is a quadratic that can factor this quadratic trinomial. All quadratic trinomials can't factor, but I can find two numbers that multiply, give me negative 10 and give me 3. All right, let's factor it. X plus 2 cannot factor, stays the same. The denominator right here, we said they both have x squared in common. If you take out an x squared, you remember x to the third means x 3 times. I took out 2 of them, so I'm left with an additional x. And I already took out the x squared, so I'm just left with a 2 times. Difference of squares. You know it's going to be x and x. But what's the two numbers that multiply to give me negative 4? Plus 2 and negative 2. All right, the bottom is going to be x and x. What's two numbers that multiply? You need negative 10. 1 and 10, but one has to be negative. Or 2 and 5, but one has to be negative. But which one is going to give me positive 3? That has to be a positive 5 and a negative 2. Now it is factored. We're looking to cancel out on top and bottom in a pair. So x minus 2's, that cancel out on top and bottom as a pair. And literally, that's it. That's all that cancel out. So what's left at the top? X plus 2 times another x plus 2 is x plus 2 squared. And at the bottom, you left with x squared and an x minus 2 and an x plus 5. Final answer. These cannot cancel because these are different factors. It has to be the same factor being multiplied to cancel. We're done. Let's hit number 3. Number 3, let's factor. What do 4x minus 10 have in common? 2. So 2 goes in there. How many times does 2 go into 4? 2x times. How many times does 2 go into 10 or negative 10? Negative 5 times. All right, now you're trying to see, can you factor the bottom? That's a quadratic. You remember, you sometimes don't know, you just have to kind of look and see and check with the numbers. All right, so what are two numbers that multiply to me negative 28? 1 and 28, 2 and 14, and 7 and 4. And which is going to combine to give me a negative 3? That's going to be x and x, give me x squared. The two numbers are minus 7 and plus 4. All right, check the other side, times. What's the two numbers that multiply give us 7? But add give us negative 8. That's x and x. The two numbers are negative 7, negative 1. At the bottom, this is the greatest common factor. You should be able to quickly, or not quickly, just should be able to identify what factoring method am I using. Once you are able to do that, you factor it, cancel. Pretty simple, right? All right, which one is this? GCF. It has something in common. They have an 8, not an 8. They have a 4. 4 is the greatest common factor. So 4 goes in there 2 times. 4 goes in 20 5 times. All right, let's cancel. The same thing. I see 2x minus 5s come out. X minus 7s come out. So now we're left with, at the top is 2 times x minus 1. That's the only thing left at the top in the numerator. In your denominator, 4 times x plus 4. However, 2/4, that's a fraction we can simplify. 2/4 is 1/2. So your final answer is x minus 1 over 1/2. You remember it's invisible 1. You can put the 1, but it is not needed. All right, so now you are ready and set to go. You know how to multiply rational expressions. The next concept will be division. See you guys next time.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment to the channel. Until next time, always striving for excellence and reaching for success.